In the background of the impeachment inquiry, in the background of trying to bribe Ukraine, in the background of Donald Trump's taxes, in the background of Trump abandoning the Kurds in Syria and the immediate bombings carried out on Kurdish forces by Turkey, there are 26 new sexual assault allegations against Donald Trump. There is a new book, All the President's Women, Donald Trump and the Making of a Predator. The book was written by Barry Levine and Monique El-Faizy, where there are 43 new allegations of inappropriate behavior with women by Donald Trump. Of those 43, 26 rise to what we would realistically call unwanted sexual contact or sexual assault, as many of us refer to it. The theme is always the same. Trump's throwing his wealth around, Trump's throwing his power around, and sometimes he's throwing his weight around in a literal sense, the fact that he is physically a large guy, to sexually assault women, to touch them in bathrooms, everything that you can imagine. One example has Donald Trump allegedly hiding behind a tapestry to grope a woman at his Mar-a-Lago estate. There are literally dozens of examples. I'm not going to go through all of them here. The book even identifies the women that Melania Trump viewed at the time as the biggest threats to her status as Donald Trump's primary girlfriend. Melania, of course, now Trump's wife and the first lady. During a brief breakup between Donald Trump and Melania over trust issues, Trump reportedly really scaled up the sexual assaults on women. And I think this is an important point at which I should mention. There are people who are talking about the infidelity component of Donald Trump and Melania Trump's relationship. I don't care about that. I truly could not care less about that. I don't care if Bill Clinton cheats on Hillary. I don't care if Trump cheats on Melania, which obviously he does. I mean, he's paid off mistresses during his marriage. That's not really the important part. They can do whatever they want in their relationship, whatever relationship works for them, good for them. The important parts are we've got a predator here who is sexually assaulting women. This is someone who is possibly illegally paying off the women. And these are women whose stories are often suppressed by everything from physical threats to hush money. Remember that in the case of Stormy Daniels, she alleges that her, I believe it's daughter, was threatened implicitly by a guy in a parking lot who came up to her saying, you don't want to talk about this Trump stuff. And there has been no accountability. In part, there has been no accountability because the Trump electorate, even evangelicals who claim to vote their values, they would rather vote for a serial sex assaulter than for a Democrat, period. I mean, it's as simple as that with millions of Republican voters. And in the end, the big picture is these are people who claim that they are all about their values, but then they don't actually live them. They don't actually vote them, certainly. And it's important to remember, Trump's previously said, when you're famous or rich or whatever, they just let you do it. Apparently not. Just when we think that we are starting to kind of wrap our heads around how disgusting he is, we learn of about 26 new allegations in this case. And meanwhile, I mean, it gives me the chills. Mike Pence's wife, Karen Pence, said, I believe it was at a rally last night or the night before in Minnesota, that she loves how Donald Trump treats young women. Can you imagine being either this disconnected from reality or this malignantly dishonest to go onto a stage and say about a guy who has talked about how if Ivanka weren't his daughter, ... who has treated so many women terribly, who has admitted to just going up and grabbing whatever it is that he grabs, for her to say she loves how he treats young women. Now, I do think it would be good to prevent this story from going away again, because it gets buried. And when you have, the 18th, the 19th, the 20th, I mean, it's 16 or 17 allegations we had. This is 26 more. We're talking about around 45 women that are to different degrees accusing Donald Trump of sexual assault. I get that he's not going to face legal consequences. The statute of limitations has elapsed on many of these, but it feels like the least we can do is keep this in the news. Don't let it get buried so that it's in addition to trying to extort Ukraine and this story and that political scandal and not cooperating with impeachment and all of this other stuff, in addition to all of that stuff, we can keep the fact that there's no way all of these women are making this up in the news, that there is one way to hold Donald Trump accountable, no matter what the statute of limitations is on sexual assault, and that's by voting him out of office in November of 2020. I believe there would be a benefit to keeping this in the news, although Trump, via political scandal, has done a really good job of making the sexual assault stories go away. And the media, when a story is hot, they will try to pull in one of the accusers. For example, E. Jean Carroll was one that Anderson Cooper interviewed. Interview didn't go particularly well. But once that initial ratings hit goes away, the stories tend to go away as well. And I think that this is definitely something that should be kept in the news. Let's take a quick break. Make sure you're following The David Pakman Show on Instagram at David Pakman Show. While you are there, follow me on Instagram at david.pakman as well. Today's program is sponsored in part by Blinkist.com/Pakman. If you've not already heard about Blinkist, it's amazing. It's an app for your phone, tablet, or web browser. And what they do is they take nonfiction books, popular nonfiction, critically acclaimed nonfiction. They condense the book into a 15-minute audiobook. You get all the most important information and insights from each book, but you can soak up the entire essence of the book in one sitting. I've listened to a ton of books on Blinkist. One recent one is Robert Reich's new book, The Common Good. Also Bunk by Kevin Young, useful in preparing me for the pseudoscience miniseries that we're producing. And if you are a David Pakman Show viewer or listener, you can get a 7-day free trial by going to Blinkist.com/Pakman. If you're watching on YouTube, use the link in the video description. After the free trial, if you like it, you can get the full access to thousands of condensed audiobooks for about $5 a month. That's BLINKIST.com/PAKMAN.